Hi, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kristen. So for today's video, I'm going to be sharing my January TBR. So obviously this is my first monthly TBR video of the year. It's also my very first video of 2023, so happy new year. So I'm really excited for this year of reading and all the books that I'm going to get into. I have a lot on my shelf that I am trying to read this month. I want to actually make a good dent in my physical TBR, so hopefully I can get that done this year. But yeah, I'm really excited to see what books I read this year, and I'm excited to share the books that I'm planning to hopefully read in the month of January. I'm horrible at sticking to TBRs, but I always love making them, so I'm gonna go ahead and share it anyway. So yeah, let's just get into the video. So I did kind of try to categorize my books under different things of like the ones that I want to read for January, because I am a mood reader and it obviously always changes like what I feel like reading, and at this point there are certain books that I am in the mood to read, so I kind of just like categorize them based on that. It'll make sense when I get into it. But the first book I'm going to talk about is Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. So I've had this book on my shelf for a really long time. I feel like so many people read it in 2022, and I feel like everyone who read it was obsessed with it and like it was in their top reads of the year. So I'm kind of sad that I didn't get to read it last year, but I have been really wanting to get into it, especially because I've heard just nothing but great things about it. I've heard it's such an amazing book, and if you've been watching my videos, you know that I just finished reading the 9th book in the Addicted and Calloway Sisters series. So that series, I'm just very like attached to it. I love it so much. I love the found family in that, and I feel like this book has been compared to Addicted and Calloway. I feel like so many people have said that it's like on that level of being such an amazing book, and like having that found family and just having these characters that you really love. I just really want something similar to Addicted and Calloway, so I'm excited for it. I feel like this one might be my first read of the year because I want to start off the year with a really good book, and I just have a really good feeling about this one. It is a very long book, so I'm a little bit like intimidated by it, and I'm not sure how I feel about it being such a long book, but I've heard nothing but good things about it, so I definitely want to give this one a try. It might change, but as of now, this is the book that I think I'm going to start 2023 with. So next, going along with more of the random moods that I've been in and books I've been feeling like reading, I've been wanting to read just another like really cute rom-com, and so I have a bunch on my shelf because I was really into them at one point. I would always buy them at the bookstore, and I feel like lately I haven't been reading like just the cute like cartoon cover rom-coms that are like the traditionally published ones. I feel like I read a lot of like indie authors and a lot of Kindle Unlimited books, so I've been wanting to get back into just like the rom-com type books. So I have a couple that I have been considering reading that I would really like to read soon. So the first one is Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. I love Abby Jimenez. I've heard nothing but good things about this book, so I've been really excited to read it, and I just keep putting it off, and I don't know why. I don't know, lately I just kind of had this sudden urge to like read this book, so I think this one will be like one of my next rom-coms if I choose to read a rom-com soon. But yeah, I've been really excited to read this book. I might have mentioned it recently in a video, maybe, I'm not sure if I did, but yeah, this one I definitely would like to try to read it, hopefully in January. The next rom-com that I have been considering reading, because I kind of bought it recently, is Mr. Wrong Number by Lynn Painter. I don't know if I'll read both of these rom-coms this month. I probably won't, but I definitely would like to try to read at least one of them. So Lynn Painter's actually releasing another book in March, I'm pretty sure, so I'd like to try to read this one before that one because I think this one comes before it. But yeah, these are my two rom-com options if I choose to read a rom-com. Next, I've also been in the mood to read a hockey sports romance because those are my favorite. I love reading them. So I have a couple that are also on my TBR that I'm considering possibly reading for January. The first one is Mile High by Liz Tomford. This one's definitely more of a prioritized read for me. I feel like there's a very good chance that I'll read this one in January. Like I really want to get to it soon, so we'll see, but this one is definitely on my list. This one's another one that I've been hearing really great things about, so I'm excited for it. I think this one might be the one that I read if I get into hockey sports romance in January. But I also have Play With Me by Becca Mack. This one's another one that I would really like to read soon. So like I said, Mile High is definitely more prioritized than this one, but I think I would like to try to get to this one too if I can. The next couple books are just random books that I have been really wanting to read. They're not exactly like the highest priority, like I'm not 100% sure that I'll get to them in January, but they're high on my TBR just like in terms of all the books that I own. Like these are the ones that I would really like to read soon, but they're just not the highest priority for January. So the first book is Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. I've heard that this one is also really amazing. I've heard it's very heartbreaking, so I was considering starting off the year with this book, but I also didn't want to start the year with a heartbreaking book. Even though I just said I was going to read Binding 13 first, I've heard that that book's heartbreaking too, actually. Maybe I won't read that one first because I don't really want to read a sad book first, but I do want to read like a good book first because I just like starting the year off with like a really good book, and I want to try to like hopefully guarantee that the book will be good. I know it's never actually a guarantee, but like I can still get a good feeling about a book if it's going to be good or not, you know? So I feel like this one's going to be really good. I don't think I want to start the year off with it, but I do really want to read this one soon because I really love Kennedy Ryan. And then next is Heartless by Elsie Silver, another one that I'd really like to try to read soon, mainly because the third book in this series comes out I think in February, I'm pretty sure, so I would really love to read this one before the third one, that way I can read the third one when it comes out. But I read the first book in the series, Flawless, I loved it, so I've been really looking forward to this one. I've heard that it's also a really great book. Yeah, and I don't know, I kind of have been putting it off for a little bit, but I definitely want to read it very soon. The next book, I can absolutely guarantee that I will read it in January, or at least start reading it in January, and that's Final Offer by Lauren Asher. I'm so excited for this book. It's the third book in the Dreamland Billionaire series, and I loved the first two, so I have been anticipating this one for so long. So yeah, this one comes out on January 29th, so I'll definitely be reading it like as soon as I can. So next, I have been really wanting to get into another series. Obviously I mentioned Finding 13 again earlier, which again is part of a series, but I also have like other series that I've been really wanting to read. So I have a few that I might potentially read. I know I'm obviously not going to read all of these, but these are just my potential options of what I would like to possibly read if I choose to get into a series. And I would really like to try to get into a series in January besides Binding 13, just like another series that I've owned for a while. So obviously my first option is the Dirty Air series by Lauren Asher. I really want to read this one. A big reason why I want to read this one though is because Final Offer is coming out at the end of January, so I'd like to try to get through all of her books before that one comes out. That way I can just like be caught up with all of them. It's not something that I really like need to do because the series isn't connected to that one, but I would just like to try to do it. So we'll see, maybe I'll finally read the Dirty Air series. And so the next book is Indigo Ridge, which again is also part of a series, but in this series it does have a novella that comes before this book, and I just read the novella back in December, so I kind of feel like ready to go into this series now because I read the first book, which is just a quick story basically. So we'll see, maybe I'll get into this one in January. Again, it's just another potential option of a series to read. And then the last series that I might potentially want to get into is the Brutal Birthright series by Sophie Lark. So the first book is Brutal Prince. I've just heard really good things about it. I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it because it is a mafia romance, but I do have a good feeling about it. Like I feel like I'm gonna like it because I've just seen like a lot of people that I follow like on TikTok that like it, and I trust their opinions, so I kind of have a good feeling about this book even though it is very different from what I normally read. But yeah, so this one again, I'm not sure if I'll get to it. I know realistically I'm not going to get to all these series, but it's just another potential option. I think the highest priority for the series for me would probably be the Dirty Air series. And then the next book that I would like to potentially read in January is going to be a reread, but it's Addicted to You by Krista and Becca Ritchie. So like I said, I just finished reading the 9th book in this series, and I'm not prepared to go into the 10th book because I just know it's going to like emotionally destroy me. So honestly, I kind of was considering rereading the entire series before going into the 10th book because I read this book over a year ago. I read it in November of 2021, so I think I want to reread it before eventually reading the 10th book. I had this idea in my head to reread every single book this year, like reread each of the 9 books and read like one each month basically, and then after that start the 10th book. I don't know if I'm going to do that because I don't know if I really want to reread the entire series, but I definitely want to reread parts of it. The first one I for sure want to read again. The other ones I feel like I can kind of skip around, maybe like skim certain parts. I just feel like it's been over a year since I started this series, so I kind of want to reread at least some of it before going into the last book. I kind of feel like I shouldn't. Like I honestly feel like I should let this series go at this point. I talk about it all the time and I've been dragging it out for like way too long. I feel like I should just like kind of move on from it and like just read the 10th book at some point and like move on, you know, but I also don't want to, and I want to stay in it for as long as I can, so that's why I kind of want to reread it. I know I definitely want to reread this entire book, so my plan is to read it in January, but we'll see how that goes. So I wanted to go ahead and mention it in this video. So yeah, those are all the books that I'm planning to hopefully read in the month of January. I know I'm not going to read all of them. Obviously I said that I'm just like giving myself options with some of these, but these are the ones that I potentially like to try to read within the next month, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Definitely let me know any of your thoughts if you have read any of these books or if you're planning to read them. And if you liked this and you're new to my channel, I would love it if you would stick around and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching.